You don't realise how good your life is before something like this happens. It definitely is a different experience, like rolling through them front doors and seeing the house a lot differently.
Today we're sitting down with Dale, who was recently paralysed in a workplace accident. We talk about the days following the accident, how he found support through social media, how he's adapting to life in a wheelchair, and also how his life's perspective has changed following his injury. Dale's mum, Connie, is also joining us to share her experience of how her son's accident has affected their lives. So, how did you end up in a wheelchair?
On a Friday morning, around 7:30 it happened, so we were loading up fridges on the back of a truck to get rid of them, take them to the scrap yard, get money for them. The truck had like a hydraulic platform that like comes off the back of the truck and then lowers down to the floor. There was like a bigger one that was sort of up in the carport a little bit more, and it was a lot more of a heavier fridge. And so then I thought like maybe I'll just grab a trolley. A work experience kid at the time helped me push it over with me, so he pushed it over for me. And then as he sort of pushed it over, I just sort of couldn't hold it, and then I guess just slipped back or missed foot placement, I don't know. It all happened so quickly, you don't really realise what you did wrong. And then the ambulance come and then you're in hospital.
Right after the accident, what were you thinking? What was going through your head?
On the day of the injury, like you sort of just think like, you don't know what's going on, I guess. You're sort of like, you don't know what's happening. You know that like, you're paralysed, but you don't know what the outcome's going to be.
And can you tell me a little bit about what it was like being in hospital right after the accident?
So I had the MRI the same day and probably a whole load of x-rays and whatnot. So I had surgery, I think the following morning it was at around 6 a.m, where they like take a piece of the bone out and then rods and screws to stabilise the spine. So I was in ICU for a little bit, then got put down to the surgical ward for a little bit there, and then did a little bit of rehab in the acute section there, just sitting up, nothing special, just sitting up, getting out of bed, I guess. And then, went across the road to the rehab unit over there and then did a bit there.
Connie, how has your son's injury affected you and the family?
I take myself back to the day of the accident. You think, everything's going to be okay. He's got an injury, a little bit of time in a hospital. It'll be okay. Being naive and having no medical knowledge whatsoever, being showed the x-ray and his workmate and I looking at it and going, there's a bit of a gap there, I think, well, he'll be okay. And you keep thinking, this is going to be okay. In a couple of weeks, he's going to get over it, he'll be fine. Until the reality sets in that it's life-changing. Yeah, but like Dale said, you think you're at the worst point in your life, or you can think, exactly, like life's great, life's amazing, and then bang, something can happen so quickly and change it so quickly in literally an instant.
Are there everyday tasks that are just more difficult now?
It definitely is a different experience, like rolling through them front doors and seeing the house a lot differently. You look at everything, like it doesn't look the same as when you left, I guess. Then you're sort of like going around and you're like, it's been a while since I used these. I guess like the shower, it's been a while since you used that, so you look at it and you're like, it's been a while since I last used that, and then you use it differently. Not being able to go to the toilet normally, alright, is the main one. Like you used to, that's the most surprising one.
Has your outlook on life changed?
Before you're injured, you sort of just look at like someone in a wheelchair and you think like, the legs just don't work, like that's all right, like they just roll around, like, it's no different to us. But like then once you actually have the injury, you realise like it's a lot more to it. Like it's pretty much like having a full-time job, I guess, being in a wheelchair and having a spinal cord injury. You gotta look after your skin, make sure your bowels are working and your bladder, make sure you're not getting UTIs. You don't realise how good your life is before something like this happens. Like before this happened, like maybe like couple months back, I had like a car accident. No one was injured, but like just damaged like my new car that I loved. And like back then I thought like, oh yeah, this is like the end of my world. Like life couldn't get any worse than this. But then like a couple months down the track, it shows you that like you'd do anything to go back into them shoes. Like it shows that like, yeah, it wasn't so bad.
Was there anything that helped you get through those early stages of your injury?
Maybe the lived experience things that they used to do. They used to do like a lived experience session where like people that have been living with the injury for a long time come in and talk to you about like what life is like, and they were really good. Like they sort of give you a bit of an idea of what to expect. But then even like social media is a good thing. Like there's lots of people out there on social media that you can reach out to, and you find lots of other people that are in similar situations to you, especially young people. That's another like difficult thing, I guess, is being so young with an injury. Most of them are quite elderly. But yeah, young people, I guess, is the better ones to find. A bit more relatable. They sort of understand your same struggles that you go through.
So those lived experience visitors that have also come through the ward and how they've changed their lives and modified, and people have flown aeroplanes. It really lifts your spirits. All of it lifts your spirits. And just to know that you're not alone. You're not going through this alone. There are other people in a similar situation. Yes, it makes you realise life's not over. You can still do things. Yes, they're going to look differently, and yes, it's going to take a lot more effort, but yeah.
Now that you're back home, what are you looking forward to most?
Going back to work, I guess. Just need a power chair, I think. There's not too much to it. You got the back to work program that will like help do ramps and whatnot if there needs to be ramps put in. I think driving will be the next thing, but I do have to look at a new car, which I don't really know what yet. I haven't really decided on many options, but it'll be a new car. And then fishing, I've put an application down for like a hand-controlled full-drive buggy to help me do that sort of things.
Getting out with his girlfriend and his mates, and yeah, the next step is getting back to visit his workshop and visiting his workmates and all that sort of things.
It's just getting back to your normal life, I guess, is the main goal. Just getting back out there. I guess just finding a cure, I think, is what needs to happen.